Okay, so we're back for a third and final day of factoring trinomials. We need the previous day's knowledge to help us to do today's. There's two ways you could do this. There's what I would call the old-fashioned way, which is what I remember and what I'm going to try to do. And then there's like a newfangled system that if people are redoing this class, Mrs. Walters taught you a way to do this that I think it came out of Singapore, but I don't remember how to do it, honestly. I eventually last year was stepping in and helping some of you guys do it, and I learned it then because I had to communicate with you, but I don't remember how it worked. There was like a plus thing or an X or something in it. I don't remember how that X worked. So if you remember how the X works, then feel free to use the X. If you remember that you love the X, you could Google like factoring trinomials Singapore trick or something and find a YouTube video, and I'm sure somebody on YouTube has a video that could teach you about this like Singapore thing with an X. Maybe it's not Singapore, but it's somewhere like that part of the world. So if you like that, look it up. If you didn't like that, don't worry about it. If what I do makes sense, maybe you just want to convert to my system. But if I do this lesson and you're like, I don't understand what he did, I remember that X better, then go look up the X, figure out how to do it. And if you want me to, I can look up the X and do it, but I'm kind of stuck in my ways. I've done this too long, like the old-fashioned way for me to convert. I can remember it, or I can understand it when I see it, but since I never use it, I just kind of revert back to my ways. But here's what I'm going to suggest we do. This is what we did in the old days when I was young. We basically guessed and then checked. So we did a guess move, and then we'd have to foil stuff to check. If guess check makes you mad, then go Singapore. That takes the guess out of it. But if you're smart about how you guess, there really isn't a lot of guesswork involved. Like for 2x squared. Well, first, how are these problems different? What do you notice?
The X is at there's a plus, where one's a negative and one's a plus.
That's true, but we've had those other days. We've had every combination assigned, just not in the same day, but we've had minus plus and plus plus and minus minus. And we've had all the sign variations the last 2 days, but there's something about these that you haven't seen in the last 2 days.
X squared has a number.
X squared has a number. If X squared has a number in front of it, that's where we have to resort to some sort of new method, which in the old days we always guess checked, and in the new days maybe Singapore is taking over the world. I don't know. But 2x squared, there's not much of a guess. There's only one way you could get 2x squared.
1x?
A 1x into one group.
And 1x in the other.
1x and 1x would make 1x squared.
1x and a 2x?
A 1x and a 2x. For 2x squared, there's no way to go other than a 2x here and an x there in some combination. So that's not much of a guess. That's not going to cause us problems. Again, this one with 2x squared is going to be 2x versus x. There's not much of a guess going on there. 6x squared, there's some guessing going on. Because how could we get a 6x squared going?
1 or 6 if you get 2.
It could be a 6-1 pair, or it could be a 3-2 pair. So here's what I do in my life. I never use the pair with 1 unless I run out of choices. I find that one hits a lot less. The only way I would do the 6-1 pair is if this number was really, really big and compared to its neighbors. Looking through my board, I don't really see any numbers in the middle that are particularly big compared to its neighbors. I mean, the middle number is usually the biggest number, but it's not extravagantly big compared to our neighbors. But if I went over here, if I were going to use the 6-1 and the 8-1 pairs on this, I would need to be up around like 49. Like 6 times 8 is 48. So if I'm sitting at like 48, 49, 47, something like that, 40 something is really big compared to those numbers. There I'd use the 6-1, 8-1 numbers. But unless I see something in the middle that's really pretty big compared to its friends, I don't really do that 6-1 pair. So with 6x squared, I'd go 3x, 2x. Am I sure that that's right? No, but I'm going to say like 90-10, that it's probably not the pair that uses 6 and 1. 4x squared takes a guess as well. For 4x squared, what could it be?
2 and 2.
Could be 2 and 2.
4 and 1.
Could be 4 and 1. It can't be 2 and 2. but I'm gonna put it up here just to be like conversational about it. What basic kind of number is 2? 2's in a club. What club is 2 in? Evens. It's an even number. So if I put an even here, and it's going to multiply a number there, an even times anybody is always even. This even times anybody is always even. When you put together a bunch of even numbers, it's still even. And in the long run, our goal is to get, which is an odd. If your middle number is odd, you can't go crazy getting evens, because evens like overpower the problem and prevent you from ever seeing an odd. So that takes the guesswork out of this. So if I see 4x squared, I would usually lean toward 2x, because I like to go more medium size usually, but not if I'm making an odd. So here I'm breaking my own rule from a minute ago. I would go 4x, 1x. Even though that's not ginormously big compared to its friends, I can't get an odd number unless I get some odd numbers like in this mix. We get one more beginner number. 3x squared, is that a guess or is it a certainty?
It's a certainty.
It's a certainty. It has to be who and who?
3 and 1.
3x, 1x. So that's not much guessing. So the critics of what I'm doing say, you're just guessing. Well, what I say is I'm educated guessing. Sometimes there is no guesswork. Like with 2s and 3s, there's no way to go but with using like what we use. With a 4, we had choices. Well, educated guessing tells us we can't go 2x, because it's too much evenness to get an odd in the long run. And here I just know that it's like 90-10. I'm not going to use the pair with 1. It just tends not to work. So I'm going to go 3x, 1x. If any of these is wrong, it's this one. But I'm positive I made right choices on like 4 out of those 5. Question about the beginners? The signs involve limited guessing. Okay, so it's the same rules as other days. When this, look here first. If this is a plus, we know that these should be the same as each other, as well as the same as the first sign. So this is minus minus, that is not a guess. That is 100% certainty based on rules from other days. Plus again. So those are the same again. This time, both pluses, because that's a plus. That's not a guess, that's 100% certainty. Plus here means again, same as this. Both pluses, not a guess, 100% certainty. Again, plus, same as this. Both minus, 100% certainty. Minus finally.
They're both different.
They're different. We don't know who goes where and it matters. So now we are guessing. We just have to guess. Do you want to guess plus or do you want to guess minus?
The minus first.
Go minus first, go plus second. That might be right, that might be wrong. I have no idea. I'll find out in a minute. Question about signs? 5. No way to go except for
1 and 5.
1 and 5. But here's where there is a guess involved. Could be 1 here, 5 there. Could be 1 here, 5 there. So just pick one. Who do you want here? 1, 5. So we're done guessing. Now what we have to do is FOIL the check. And I might even go so far as to say, we just need the OID to check. We don't need the full thing. We know this makes 2x squared. We picked that. We know that that makes 5. We didn't pick like 3 times 8 or something that didn't make 5. We know that makes 5. So we don't have to worry about first and last. But the inside-outside part we need to check. What does this make? Negative 1x. This makes negative 10x. Negative 10 with negative 1 makes negative 11. So we got to swap them. We didn't guess right, so we're going to just swap them back. If we swap these numbers that we guessed on, now we have a hit, because this is negative 5x, negative 2x as a standalone, but once we put it together, and we're good. Question about how I picked that? Okay, so here we just need to guess numbers that make 3.
1 and 3.
1 and 3 is your only choice. You feel like putting a 1 or a 3. 1, 3. And then check your guess. These make
1x.
1x. Those make,
6x.
together makes
5x.
positive 1, positive 6.
Oh, I thought that was the negative 1. 8.
Positive 1, positive 6.
That's
Together.
7.
Positive 7. Grr. So, it's got to be 3, 1. Because this makes
3x.
3x, 2x,
2x.
together,
5x.
and that's what we wanted. Something there. 4. What could 4 be?
2 and
2 and 2. Does 2 and 2 have any chance?
2. No.
No. Why?
This is an odd.
Because that's, we're trying to make an odd result, and if we overload with evens, it's just going to even dominate. There's no hope of 2, 2. So we're not going to go 2, 2. So who's it have to be?
1 and 4.
1 and 4. And it can't be 4 here. If I go 4 here, what type of number is everybody?
Even.
Even, all in the same group. If you get one group that's all even, it's going to force long-term everybody to be even. And we're trying to get an odd. So 4 can't go there. 4 could go there, 1 could go there. We're probably right, because I don't think we ever guessed. No, we did guess. This is the one that we could have gone 6 and 1 maybe at the beginning. So if this fails, I got to go 6, 1. Try this and see. Here we got
8x.
8x,
3x.
3x together.
11.
We hit it. Question there? 6. Who could 6 be?
2 and 3.
6, 1 or
2 and 3.
2, 3. I will refuse to use
6 and 1.
6, 1. I'll only use that if I get stuck. So I'm using 2 and 3. Who would I not put there?
The 2.
The 2. It's too much evenness, and I'm trying to get an odd. If I were trying to get an even, I'd absolutely do that. But no, I'm trying to get an odd, so I'm not going to overload too many evens here. I'm going to go 2 where it had an odd, and then put the odd where we had an even, and hope that that like evens it out. Total on this,
Negative 3x.
negative 3x,
Negative 8.
negative 8x together,
Negative 11.
and we got it. If you think while you guess, and you're not just like blindfolded guessing, you don't usually have a lot of strikeouts on your guess. So I've never disliked this system. If you try to mindlessly guess, then you're going to get a lot more strikeouts and get a lot more frustrated. Okay, but if you keep your eyes peeled for odds and not overload evens, and if you steer away from the choice that uses 1, you probably are going to do pretty well. 10, we got choices.
5 and 2.
5 and 2 is probably what I want to use. If 5 and 2 completely strikes out, then I'd resort to
10 and 1.
10 and 1, but I don't like that choice, generally speaking. So we just need to decide whether to go 5 or 2. 5 and 2. Since we're trying to get an odd, but we always had some odds, that didn't really help us narrow that down as well. This would be negative 5x. That would be positive 6x. Can 5s and 6s get you 13s? No. So we made an unlucky choice. Must not be 5 and 2. We're hoping it's 2 and 5. But we're not guaranteed it's 2 and 5, because who is still out there? Maybe that 10-1. That 10-1 might have to happen, but we're hoping not. This would make a positive, how much? Multiply, positive 15 versus
Negative 2x.
negative 2. Positive 15 versus negative 2
13.
is 13 positive. We want to get 13 negative. So how else did we come up short?
The sign.
The signs are backward, so just switch them, and then we're a win. Something about column 1. So much fun, we do it again. There's no new strategies, it's just a matter of the repetitiveness of getting a feel for this. Well, 3x squared, you'd go
3x and 1.
versus a 1x. Signs,
Different.
Different because of that minus, so just guess. Minus plus 5, there's only one way to do that. 1 and 5, so she said it in that order, so I'll write it in that order, 1 and 5. But we may need to switch the 1, 5 order, we may need to switch the sign order. Question about how we got those guesses cooking. This would be negative 1x, positive 15. So positive 15 battles negative 1, and we come out with positive 14. So we switch the sign. And that's a win. Okay. 6x squared options,
3 and 2.
3, 2, which is what I'm going to pick. And if that totally fails me,
6 and 1.
I'll go 6, 1, but I don't like 6, 1 choices. So 3x, 2x, signs, different, plus, minus, maybe we're right, maybe we're not, we'll find out. 7, there's only one way to go. 1 and 7, so we set it in that order, so I'll just do it. But right away, I'm a little bit suspicious we failed, because this would make
Negative
21, and that's pretty far away from that. This is only going to get us 2. That it'll play? No. So maybe it's this. I feel a little better about this, because this is going to get us positive 14, which isn't off by much.
And then a negative 3.
Negative 3, does that make 11?
Yeah.
That's a win. 6x squared.
3x and 3x.
3x and 2x, because we're multiplying. Signs?
Both plus.
Both pluses, not against. That's no. When this is a plus, they're the same as its friend. 6 options. Either
3 and 2.
3, 2 or
6 and 1.
6, 1. My personal preference is going to be
3 and
try the 3, 2 first. And I'm not going to put a 2 there. Because if I put a 2 there, too much evenness is going to dominate, and long term we need an odd. So I would try 2, 3. This makes 4x, that makes 9x together,
13.
and we win. 4x squared. Choices?
2 and
2, 2. Would I use 2, 2?
2. No.
No. Why not?
Is there even? I'm trying to get all.
Too much even. We're trying to get an odd. So it's not a guess. I am certain. It's 4x, 1x. Signs?
The same.
Same.
Both minus.
Both minus. So we'll take 2 of that one. 3, no guesswork. Definitely going to be 1 and 3. So you set it in that order, so I'll take it. And I feel good about it, because that's already negative 12, which is in our neighborhood pretty nicely. That's another negative 1. That is negative 13 total, so good guessing. Last one, 6x squared. We've been doing
3 and
3, 2, and I would keep at that. Signs,
2. Both plus.
pluses. 8,
2 and 4.
2, 4. Will 2, 4 possible work? No, why not?
Because we're looking for an odd.
Looking for an odd, that's too much evenness, so it's gotta be
8, 1.
8, 1. So if you put 8 here, that's gonna get you in the neighborhood of 16. If you put 8 there, it's gonna get you in the neighborhood of 24. What seems like your better play? 8 here to get you in that 16 zone, 1 there, is 16 plus 3 is a hit. Again, if I did this to you, okay, there I'm going to get real suspicious about how big 49 is compared to its friends. That's going to go 6x versus x. 8, I need to go big, so I would go 8, 1. I wouldn't put 8 there because too much evenness. I'd go 8, 1. And all of a sudden, when I multiply, 6 times 8 gets me 48, plus another 1 would get me up to 49. If I went back through these and I tried to do stuff with like a 6x versus x choice, like if I go to do this and I'm like, 7s and 1s or something, that's going to get me up in the 40s. Like if this number's up in the 40s, then I'm going to do the like 6-1, 7-1 kind of choices. That's going to do stuff like that. It's not universally true, but that's pretty true. When the signs are different, they might like offset each other. So, but I'm not going to say more. That's just going to be confusing. But generally speaking, the 6-1 stuff, the 8-1, that stuff, it just doesn't. It's not used as much by authors of books, in my experiences. Question about this? Okay, so if you understood that, use it. If you're like, man, I don't want to guess, then look up that Singapore thing. It works, and it's no guesswork. I just don't remember how it is, and I can't explain to you why it works. Like, it works because I've tried it, and it always gets the right answer. But like, why are we putting certain numbers in certain spots? I mean, I don't know. But it did the trick. People that took this remember that and can verify that. People liked it. It might be better. This might also seem better when I teach it because I like it and I like push it. The other thing might seem better when she teaches it because she likes it and she kind of pushed that too. So I'm not sure if one way is better than the other. I know this is better for me. Whether this is better for you, I'm not sure. But if you want to tinker with the Singapore X, you have my full blessing to go do that. I'm just not good at teaching it to you because my heart isn't in it. But I'm fine like telling you it exists and it's a good system for some people. And last year people liked it. That's all I got. So here's what's going on the next few days. Today we're working on homework off of 287. There's not as many problems because these can be a little harder and more frustrating to do because sometimes you do have to strike out and backtrack. But 287, we're going to go 1 to 18, skip a few, and then go to 28 as a standalone. For some reason it has more letters in it, that's why. Where the Singapore thing is good, let's say I gave you a problem like this. Okay, like how many numbers multiply to 24? A lot of ways. How many things multiply to 48? A lot of ways. So if we were guessing on that one and having the check, I think it would maybe be a while. Maybe that's where the X would be far superior because it would take the guesswork out of there. I still think I could do it and I would just do it just to do it because I'm stubborn like that. But like, I understand on a problem like this, that's going to be a mess. But in your book, if you look through the page 287, they don't really do very many numbers at the beginning that have too many options of how to multiply to get those. I see one with like 12s. 12s is about as mean as they do because there's the 1, 12, 3, 4, and 2, 6. But sometimes the even odd stuff helps you with that standalone. But 287 is where we are, 1 to 18, 28. That's 1 day away. I gave you the sheet today already. The sheet's due 2 days away. And then the quiz would be 3 days away. That's where we are in our cycle.